I'm working on this 16-inch Archtop guitar today. While it's not really intended to be an exact copy of an early L5 when they were still 16 inches wide, the person who commissioned it and I are trying to get as close as possible with some notable exceptions, like the fact that we're using wood bindings instead of plastic, and it doesn't say Gibson on the peg head and things like that. But it's an interesting project. Got a very nice piece of red maple for the back and the sides, and a gorgeous old Sitka spruce top. And like I said, the bindings are actually lace wood, or I'm sorry, the bindings are satin wood, and it's very dense. It'll do a great job protecting this body for a long time to come. So what I'm up to now is working on the neck. I've got the dovetail fitting quite nicely. I can support the neck just from the fit of the dovetail. That's obviously not glued yet. I was recently in Nashville and I went to George Gruhn's store and inquired about 1920s era L5s, and George took me upstairs and had actually 3 L5s that were made before 1930, and one of them was even a Lloyd Loar signed guitar with a Versatone producer inside. It was very cool. So I spent hours looking these things over. I wished I had had a ruler with me, but I was able to get a few details from it that I wouldn't have had otherwise, and so I thought I'd just share a couple of those things. One of the things I was looking for, or information I was trying to get, was about the neck extension, where the fingerboard goes over the body, and how deeply cut into the main part of the neck this extension is. And it turned out to be really not even 1/4 of an inch. So that was how I did this one. And then also the way the extension tapers under the fretboard. Usually when I've done this, I've just kept the neck extension the same width all the way up to the end of the fretboard. But I saw on the 20s era L5s, it's actually cut into inside of the bindings. This in-cutting on the old Gibson starts at about fret number 15 and a half, so halfway between the 15th and the 16th fret. When I did mine, I made the cut starting at the 16th fret, and I may shave a little bit more off of this, or I might leave it like that. But that was one interesting piece of information to get. Another thing I wanted to know about, because there were a lot of variations, was how much clearance there was under the neck extension over the body. Sometimes it's very little, and other times it's quite a lot. And I didn't have a ruler, obviously, but I took a couple pictures using my little finger as a reference. So I was able to actually deepen this quite a bit from where I had it initially. So that was pretty cool. And now, what I'm going to do is start shaping the neck. It's a 3-piece neck. There will eventually be a black stinger painted on the back of the peg head. got the front inlaid, and it's getting close to the time that it'll get attached to the body, but I have two big steps before I can do that. The first is to shape the neck probably pretty close to its final dimensions, and then put in the frets. The frets will be another departure from the original because we're using some EVO gold fret wire that I managed to make a trade with somebody else since it's not available anymore. So it'll have gold frets. That'll go nicely with the gold plated tailpiece. Okay, so I'm gonna set up my fixture in my vise and start shaping this with a spokeshave. But just thought people might like to see what I'm up to today. So here's the neck clamped into the fixture. I've just taken a couple of strokes so far with the spokeshave, and you can already see the wonderful curl in this wood. That's the process. It's going to take a long time, and when I get near the heel, I'll have to use a rasp. I can't get the spokeshave in there very effectively, but this is how it's done. I'm almost there. Just have a little bit more wood to shave off the shoulders, and at this point I find the card scraper is really the best way to go. It only takes a little off at a time. Use a rasp, there's always a risk of going too far, and of course you can't put the wood back on once it's gone. So I go a little more slowly with this tool and get to right where I want it to be. I really just use my hand to tell me if I've got the shape right. I don't have any pattern following template. That'll be it. I'll just do a little bit of sanding to clean up the scratches from the scraper. I've left just about 2 or 3 thousandths of an inch of extra wood right in the center, just in case when I am doing the fret work I make any little dents. I'll have just a little bit that I can sand out afterward, and if there are no dents I'll sand it out anyway because I have to get it exactly where it's been specified to be. This transition from the peg head to the neck shaft is always a little tricky too, to get the taper just right, and especially to get symmetry from side to side. I think the big challenge is the fact that I have to switch hands to sand on either side of the center line, so I don't have quite the same coordination in my right hand as I do in my left, and I have to work at it for a while to get this exactly the same. So there are the steps in shaving a neck. Spoke shave, well, first to bandsaw, then spoke shave, rasping, scraping, and finally sanding. Thanks for watching.